Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Strat Gamer here, providing you with a new Anno 1800 episode. And today we're going to talk about something that was really missing in the last DLC, the tourism DLC, for many players. This was the items. Because the good news is that in the new DLC, the last DLC of Season 3, the High Life, as you can see with all those skyscrapers here, items are back. They are new items. They are items that are impacting a number of different things. So we're gonna dive into that. Before we do though, I do want to mention is a lot of people are saying that items are only for min-maxers, they're breaking the game and things like this. I I disagree. I mean, of course, min-maxers use items a lot, but I think there are a lot of players out there who do like items and are not min-maxers at all. There are a lot of items that can help newer players understand the game, move into the game. For example, by simplifying a few of the very hard supply chains, or by diminishing a bit sort of the consumption needed and things like this. And there's also a lot of items that have nothing to do with optimizing your game, but more sort of helping you make specific choices, like specializing islands and things like this. So anyway, that's one thing I did want to say about items. We're going to talk in this episode, I'm not going to show you all of the items. I'm very happy. Maybe towards the end of the video, I'll give you a very quick run through all those items. But what I want to focus the video on is, first of all, what I think are sort of the 5 really important items that you should look at and should consider using in this DLC. Also, secondly, a couple of items that you may think are interesting, but actually I think aren't at all. And lastly, as I said, maybe at the end, we'll take a quick look at what the new items are and also where you can find them easily. So hope that is a good plan. If you're excited, also don't hesitate to press the like button, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And otherwise, let's dive in with the first item that you can already see on my screen now, which is here, a legendary item. There's actually not that many legendary items in these new items, but this one is definitely an interesting one. The first reason why I really like this item is because it works for all shopping arcades. The shopping arcade are those 3 buildings here in blue, in the circle that you can see indeed highlighted a bit in blue. And they are sort of a multi-factory, a bit similar to the restaurant, bars, and cafe. The first one is called, or actually the first one is this one, the department store. The second is called the furniture store, and the third one, the drugstore. The first one needed for your level 1 skyscrapers. This one, if I'm not mistaken, for the level 3, and this one for level 4, or maybe this one level 2. But anyway, basically they are providing you, they are one of the public services for your, as you can see, for example, this is a level 4 and the drugstore is not there. But if we go to a level 5, the drugstore is there. So yes, they are one of the public services like your market or your electricity or things like this. And as I was saying, I think the first element that's really interesting is that this item impact them all. So you can put 1 trade union, 3 things around, and you're set. Versus if you had to put 3 of these, that would take already a lot more space. That would definitely be a lot less interesting. Then the second reason why this is a great one is not the workforce because it increases the workforce. It's not the fire because it increases fire, but it is the last one, the replaced input. Instead of cherry wood, wood veneers, coconut oil, steel, and brass, the building processes wood, tallow, and iron. So now if you go into any of these, you go to the shopping catalog, which is sort of the equivalent of the recipes. You can see for each of the patents, you need 3 resources to actually activate, the bonuses, and these bonuses are here around happiness, income, and also reduction of consumption for 2 different goods. So you need those 3 things, and as you can see, it's not as if it's going to replace everything. That would be OP, but it will definitely help a lot. For example, here instead of brass, it's just gonna be iron. You can see it here at the bottom. It's only iron instead of that brass. For this one, instead of the cherry wood, it would just be normal wood. Why is this important? Is because cherry wood doesn't have a lot of, let's say, items to improve it versus the normal woods we all know can be super improved. Similarly, I mean, if you look at this one, the wood veneers transform just into wood. It's a big, simplification. And here, once again, the brass into iron. So for all of these, like each of them, except actually this one doesn't change, but all of these will be easier. And it's the same, around here. You can see iron, and it wasn't iron beginning, it was actually steel. Here's the same steel. This one actually stays the same. This one the steel, and this one the brass. And lastly here, so that's why once again it's great to put one trade union, because it's gonna help all of them. So for example, in the one I'm using here, instead of the coconut oil, you can see it's the tallow here instead of actually this one doesn't change. This one doesn't change either. This one, the coconut oil changes, and this one I think doesn't change. So it's really good that it improves actually the one that I want to use, because it helps with my investors. And then the other reason why this is so powerful, because you may be thinking, but tallow, for example, I don't want to use. But actually, tallow, you can produce a lot of tallow for free. If you look at these fish oil factories, they're producing tallow 1 of 4 with this item and 1 of 5 with this item. So here I'm producing a ton of tallow that I can then ship and use in those things. Similarly for the iron, I don't know if I have the items here.
Quality isn't quantity.
No, I didn't put it there, but I think I put it actually in the island directly here. Yes, so you can see in this island, I'm only producing coal. But if we go to if you do Control Q to get to your stat production, you can see I am producing 26 iron out of nowhere, because I don't have any iron deposit. But then if you go to my mines, I have this item here which produces iron at 1-to-1. So basically I am producing a ton of iron, again, sort of for free, which can then be used in all of those, in this one and that one, right? So that's why this item for me is huge. It is gonna, really help you. Then the second item that I think we're gonna put everywhere going forward is this one, the Blue Skies Delivery Services. It's not even a legendary, but look at this. Some happiness, I mean, I'll take it, definitely. Maintenance cost plus 10%. If I could have avoided it, I would have avoided it, but when you look at the bonus, residencies with the department store, furniture store, or drugstore need fulfilled are provided with string gum, billiard table, and journal. And it's sort of a 1-to-1, right? If you have the department store fulfilled, then you don't need string gum. If you have the furniture store, you don't need billiard tables. If you have drug store, you don't need violin. If you have all 3, you don't need all 3. So this is it's used for a couple of reasons. First one is we're talking about 3 different goods. If you compare to the old items like these 2, this one was only giving you cigar. This one was only giving you champagne. Now this one is actually giving you 3 at once. And on top of being 3 at once, it's actually giving you 3 very complex ones The chewing gum is actually not, oh, sorry. Yeah. It's actually not the most complex, but still not the easiest either, especially given that all of this is in the new world, including the building to make it. So, and that's gonna require, workforce and all of this. So this one first, then, you start getting into pretty complex stuff. Oh, and once again, a lot in the new world, which is going to be limited. Let's remember that the new world is definitely smaller than other regions, has tons of rivers and things like this. So, ignoring this one is a big thing. And then violin, even bigger. Some things also in the old world, but still a lot, again, in the new world. So being able to avoid those three is huge. And you may be saying, yeah, but you still need to give the department store, furniture store, and drugstore. But first of all, we just saw with the item that number one that you can simplify for sure those three buildings requests. And the second element is that, I mean, you would be almost done not to have those buildings because of those bonuses, right? Like 25% for steam carriages, for happiness, income plus 19%. So, just this bonus here is already more than the money that this thing is costing me, right? This is just 10%. So, you'd be done to not give those things. They give you great reduced consumption anyway, plus money, plus happiness. So I think everybody is gonna try to give them. So while you're giving them, you should be giving this item too. That's for sure. Okay, so that was number 2. Now moving to number 3. I actually maybe I did put it. Let me check here. I did put it here. This is Get Rich Quick Volume 4, The Wasteland. Let's read a bit the description. Affect chemical plants lemonade, chemical plants chewing gum, artisan workshops cognac, and all drinks production. What do we mean by all drinks production? To be honest, I haven't tested it everywhere, but you can see that here it is working on the champagne. So if we look at here at our goods, going from the start, I think it will impact the schnapps, it will probably impact beer, it may impact the lemonade, but you probably don't want to do that. The rum, it will probably impact coffee, then the champagne that I just showed there, and then they are talking about the cognac already as a drink. So it does impact, that's the first reason why I think this is a great one, is it impacts a lot of different buildings. So, instead of having all champagne productions that I have here, which does look pretty nice in this evening time, you could have, champagne here, cognac there, schnapps production here, those type of things, and still it will work for all of them. That's the first reason why this is a good item. It works on many different things. You get a small productivity boost, and in exchange, a bit more workforce and maintenance. That's not the important thing. The important thing is the ethanol 1 out of 4. Ethanol, as you can see, is here. This is, once again, a new world production. You need this building in the new world. It's going to require corn, which is only in the new world, plus also wood, which you could do everywhere. But if you do it in the old world, then you still need to transport it to the new world. And why is it great that it does produce ethanol? Well, the first reason is what I just said, right? It takes space in the new world that you will be wanting to use for coffee and all those type of things. And the second reason is because you need ethanol everywhere. First of all, you need ethanol for celluloid, as you can see it here. Then if you look here, you're gonna need it for lacquer too. And the problem is that celluloid and lacquer are then used in many different things. Here first. See it here, it's there. 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 There and there. Twice. You see, it's basically gonna be used so much, you're gonna need a lot. So if we can produce it for free in another production, and in particular in a production you were already going to do. For example, you need champagne anyway. So to put it in a champagne, hub like this, it's sort of really for free. Similarly, maybe you want to put it in the coffee, or maybe you want to do a schnapps small hub where you put it and then you sell schnapps, or you use it if you have a lot of farmers. But basically, you do get it for free. So that's why I think this is the third item that we are gonna want. Then item number 4, well, let's go into Control T to look at our items. And let's go into the org chart. All org charts. You see there's not that many items. I'm going to ignore those 3 items here because you only get one. It's from the quest of the storyline of this new DLC. So for me, it doesn't really count. I mean, sure, this is a great item. If you get this one, 75%, no negative thing, works on everything. But you're only gonna get one. It's not really sustainable. Versus all the other ones, you will get several. You can research them basically at the research institute, so you can get as many as you want. As always, I didn't cover exactly where you can get each of those items because I hope that by now you know that you can just type the name here of the item, click on item source, and you will see, can you get it in a quest? Can you get it at a trader? Can you get it in a research institute, etc.? So yes, I was saying, we have those items. Usually, it's best to look first at the legendary one, just to show you. I mean, these ones are actually pretty similar, where they increase productivity, workforce, and forest density, but just with different numbers. Similarly, this is really similar and similar and similar. This one has a very small difference, which is instead of the forest density, you get citrus. But I do think for this one, actually, so my choice number 4 is going to be this one, because you do get 25% of productivity, but more importantly, 25% of forest density. And that means that instead of having, something, it's, I haven't put together the perfect layout yet. Where is it? For example, this one. Okay. I don't have any. Sorry. 6. Start again. So if I want to put it here, I can see the forest density is already not enough, 82%. So I have to really put them far apart for it to still work. Even here, it's almost pretty impossible to find a good spot. Okay, so you're able to put 4, and that's not even counting. As soon as I'm gonna put a warehouse, if I want to put it in the middle, it doesn't work already. You have to start putting them outside. You also have to put roads to get to it. So, those org charts by default, you can't really put a lot of them. I think I actually have some somewhere, and this is sort of what it's gonna look like when you don't have any trade union. Now, if I put a trade union in the middle and I put this plus 25% of density, of course, if I put one trade union, I'm probably not gonna put only this one, because there's 3 or 4 spaces in the trade union. So I'll probably also put, to be honest, maybe this one and that one, or maybe those 2. But just with this one of 25%, you're already able to put, one or two more at least. And if you have the 3 items, I think we're gonna get to 8 or something like this into a corner like this. So this is quite huge because they take quite a bit of space. That was item number 4. Now item number 5 is for the assembly line. Once again, there are those 3 items here that we're going to ignore, and then there's items that are pretty similar. So these 3 here are actually pretty similar. This one is actually quite different, and I'll explain why. This one is one of the only items in this DLC, which I would say is sort of a full bonus. There's no negative thing about it. So you have plus 55% productivity and you decrease the maintenance cost. So definitely a good one to put. Of course, once again, if you put a trade union, you'll probably also add this one and add that one. The one that I actually wanted to highlight as my 5th one is actually not the legendary, but is this one. Why is that? Is because you get plus 80% productivity, which versus this one is only 55, and you decrease the workforce by 80%, which is huge, right? 80% for just one item. The only downside, or the main downside, is instead of workers, you're going to use engineers. But you're going to use very few engineers, right? Because of the 80%. And for me, those assembly lines, I'm definitely only going to put them in my big Cronfall production islands. I'm going to clip them. So by clipping them, actually let me show, I should have researched them and show that to you, but we can definitely do it. So I'm talking about assembly lines here. I need some resources. Okay, we're missing. Okay, so I think we can clip them, right? No. Oh, we can't. Wait, but we could. Okay, maybe you can't clip them, but even without clipping them, let me just see. No. And there's an easy way. I'm just lazy right now to check is if by the size, can you divide the size or not by 2, and then you'll see if it's clippable or not. But anyway, even without clipping it, as I was saying, I will put them on Cron4 so that I have the free Cron4 workforce that comes from all of these town halls, right? Where with the Department of Administration, I get a lot of workforce for free. So, having just a few engineers doesn't matter for me. So that's why this is the 5th item that I really like. Now, in terms of item I don't like, well, let's stay on the assembly line for a second. And it's that one. Why this one? Because of the plus 100% workforce. This is quite a lot. I don't think that's worth it, especially when you combine it to all of the other negative elements. Maintenance cost double, fire, illness, riot, attractiveness negative. And why these ones are actually a bit important is, given that you're going to need so much workforce with this plus 100% workforce, you actually probably need houses, right? It's not going to be a no workforce island where you don't have any fire chance and things like this. So you will actually get fires, you will lose space because you will need to put fire stations and things like this. So this item for me is not balanced enough to make it worth it. Then there are others, of course. I mean, another one that's nice to show is usually legendary is a lot better than rare. But now if you look at the rare one, it is 75%, right? Versus this one, which is legendary, once again, is only 25. It's the same item, but the legendary is crappy and the rare one is great. So the reason I mention it is try not to get the legendary, try to get this one, even if once again it's just a once-off item. Then there's a couple of other ones. I'm not gonna show, or maybe as I was saying, let me show you a bit other things. There are new items for the hotels. In them here. These are the three. They're honestly not that great. 20%. If it were 20% on the complex things like the souvenirs, maybe, but it's 20% on jam and bread. That's really not the hardest. And this one is just happiness. I always feel happiness is not really important. What else? We also need to look at the artisans workshops. We have this one that we saw before because it's for all assembly lines and artisan workshops. And then we have those two, which this one is honestly not too bad. It didn't make into my top 5, but it's definitely not too bad because it also goes into assembly line. So if you have a mix of assembly line and artisan workshop into your trade union, it does help. With this 75% productivity and actually reducing also the workforce. So especially for your assembly lines, if you combine the previous one we saw with this one, you get -80 plus -10, so you're already at -90%. So really a great one on in there. It does increase your illness, riot, fire, and all of this, but yeah, not terrible. And then lastly, this one, yeah, it's okay. It's a rare one, basically. You have also your orchards in the new world to be a bit complete, where actually this one. This one is quite different because it does create extra goods. The reason, once again, didn't make it to my top 5, it's not that I don't think you should use it. It's that I don't want to have that many New World orchards. I want to have as few as I can because they take a lot of space in the region. That's going to be sort of my limiting factor already for the number of investors. So as few as I can get would be great. And, of course, coffee bean, tobacco, and cacao are very important. So once again, I'm not saying I'm not going to use it, but it's not the game changer for me. What else? We did talk about the items that are improving, your investors' house, and that they are all called blue skies. There are 3 of them. We saw this one that was number 1 because of, or number 2, sorry. Then there is this one, which is, I'm not saying it's bad because it does provide good things, right? It decreases everything from your maintenance, your fire, your illness, and riot. But it's a bit of a waste of slots, right? Like, because there's other things, it's for your town hall. So there's other things you could put, like providing all of the champagne for free, right? Would be for me a lot stronger. And then that last one is actually not that bad because it gives you 20 happiness, which is huge. With 20 happiness, you don't need to give a lot of the luxury goods and you'll still be in positive, no problem. It does increase your maintenance cost just a bit, but in exchange gives you 45 bonus residents, 5 for each of the new goods, on biscuits, typewriters, cognac, etc. That's not bad, you know, because you can get to 345 with this one if you have full panorama effect. That's not bad, definitely. You know, it's more than 10% of your max population. So the jury's still out on my side if I'm gonna use this one or not, to be honest. The maintenance cost plus 15 is something, given that we all know the maintenance of skyscraper is quite big. But yeah, 45 is also pretty nice. So I may use that one in my record, to be honest. I haven't fully decided yet. So here it is, ladies and gents. This was an episode really focused on the different new items for this new DLC. I've also recently posted other videos on the DLC, in particular one reviewing, my thoughts, sort of a review of the DLC, a second around the panorama effect, explaining the panorama effect, but also showing you what I think the layout is to optimize that panorama effect. And of course, I've also done a couple of live streams playing and discovering this new DLC. So don't hesitate to check out all of those videos on my main page, channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, don't hesitate to do so already. Also, if you have requests for other videos on this DLC, something you don't understand, or something that you would want more information on, don't hesitate to share. I'll be happy to look at it and do a video on it. Okay, and thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.